I grew up in a family of 3 children. Our father was a wonderful man when we were kids. He had an interesting habit with people. He liked to give people nicknames. That's why all the children in our family had them. My brother Mason, my dad called him Rabbit, because Mason was very sturdy. My sister Harper, my dad called her Ladybug, because my sister always walked around with a big smile. And my dad gave me the nickname Elephant, because I was not in the best shape as a child. In fact, at the time, I was offended by it. I wanted so badly to have some other nickname, not to be called an elephant. The kids in the neighborhood knew that my dad called me that. That's why it was not uncommon to hear them make fun of me. I was offended to hear this from my friends. It was annoying that my brother and sister had something positive. But that was a long time ago. For Christmas this year, we all gathered at my brother's house. There he shared that his wife was going to have a baby soon. We were all excited and welcomed their family. My sister asked what they would like to name their baby, and my brother Mason said that they were thinking of naming the baby Logan. I thought it was appropriate to ask, would they give him a nickname like our dad did when he was a kid? I suggested naming their son an alien or a clam, and I started laughing. Everyone at the table was laughing, but my dad was not so happy. He just smiled. However, this smile was far from happy. Just a second later, it became obvious to everyone that my dad, Alexander, was very upset. My father got up from the table. He went to the bathroom to wash his face. I realized that he was upset because of what I said. When I came to see him, I saw that he had just sat down on a chair in the bathroom. He just sat down on a chair in the bathroom. My dad was sitting there staring at one point. I asked him, what happened? Why did he react like that? My dad answered that he didn't know that I didn't like having a nickname so much. He thought it was cute. After all, his other children never felt bad about it. So if I didn't like the nickname Elephant, I could just say so, and he would come up with something else. My dad said that he felt like a terrible dad who ruined his son's childhood, and also a celebratory dinner. A little later, my sister came over. Together, we tried to say something nice to my dad, but it was all in vain. My brother asked me to leave my father and go to the table because I was only making things worse. I took a taxi home with my girlfriend. She was upset that such a good evening had turned so bad. After all, everything was great, but it was my stupid joke that ruined it. On the way home, I got a call from my sister. Harper told me that I should apologize to our dad, and my brother was very unhappy. After all, I ruined the evening, where he said such important news for everyone. Mason, he says, I'm a stupid adult who doesn't think with his head. My brother has always been harsh with words. Everything that happened upset me a lot. I had no desire to forget this story. That evening, I wrote to my father to apologize. In the message I wrote, I said that I was not 7 years old anymore and everything was fine. I don't hold a grudge against him, and it was just a joke. My father did not believe my words. He said that I was just trying to comfort him, but in reality, I was angry with him. Dad said I didn't have to apologize to him for what I did. After all, he was the one who caused it. I tried to explain that this was not true, but my father did not accept my words. He saw the fault only in himself. Dad stopped responding to messages. The next month, on his Twitter page, there were a lot of posts about how badly he treated me and how he ruined my life because of a stupid nickname. My sister was replying to his tweets saying that it wasn't true. However, my dad was not convinced. He withdrew into himself and became depressed. Some people supported me. They didn't see anything wrong with what I said, but everyone said that I should do something about it. Personally, I didn't want it to happen. It was just words without a double meaning. I had no intention of offending anyone that night. It turns out that I really brought my dad to this state, but I can't understand it. Why is he reacting like this? My mom says I'm reckless and rude. Evelyn, this is ridiculous of me. You made a joke, and your dad made a drama out of it. Maybe your dad was lonely, so he decided to draw more attention to his personality. I think this is some kind of manipulation. Your dad probably wants to be pitied, but they said he was a cool dad, that he raised cool kids, not bad guys. Michael, this reaction to an ordinary joke is very strange. You didn't say anything inappropriate. Everyone was having fun, and no one thought anything bad about your dad. I wish I had to endure that every time when I make a joke at a family dinner, I just wouldn't be there. It was supposed to be a fun and interesting evening, not what your dad did. He was the one who ruined that dinner, not you, and your stupid brother who thinks you're wrong. Who gave that asshole permission to treat you like that? It's a good thing your girlfriend decided not to say anything. It would have ruined the whole day. You should avoid family gatherings if they turn into family dramas. Elizabeth, that's the impression I got. It's like your dad felt that he wasn't getting enough attention, so he decided to get rid of a competitor in the form of a child. And he started to play his own scene, where the father was the worst person in the history of mankind, and his son would never forgive him. I can only think of one way he could have had such thoughts. If you really didn't like it, and at one time you went around telling everyone how much you hated your father for what he said. Only in this case could I understand what he said. You didn't start saying it right at the table at the holiday dinner, that you hated your nickname. Everything was fine. Mela, your brother is very sneaky. He's probably just waiting for you, for everyone to start complaining about you, and he's so honorable. He saved his dad from your bad words. Mason, you're a real asshole. The only positive thing about that evening, that your girlfriend didn't start lecturing you, that you had no right to joke like that. If I were you, I would recommend your dad to get a tattoo, that he go to the doctor and get himself checked. Daniel, it's actually your dad's fault. Because when you were a kid, you were annoyed by the nickname Elephant. It's really awful. It's like your dad is bullying you. Maybe he doesn't recognize it, but no normal father would call his son an elephant. In his place, you should have come up with something that would make you cool and not insult you all your childhood. That's why your dad's behavior is not right. Dude, they're not worthy of you apologizing to them. Your family made fun of you. They made you a laughingstock all through your childhood, and now you have to apologize to them because you didn't like a stupid nickname. That's not normal. Family is about respect, and the nickname is an elephant. That doesn't sound like respect. Thank you all for your comments. I would like to add some information about myself and my family. There are many cousins in my family. They come to visit us very often. That's why they are like family to my parents. All children are like children in our family. But in their opinion, everything is complicated with me because I am an introvert and they are all obvious extroverts. I didn't like sitting at the family table because there were always a lot of people coming. I don't like playing football or basketball. My sisters and brothers are sports fans, but I don't like anything. I am like a brush among pencils. My dad didn't have a long relationship with my birth mom. She went to live in another country. My mom wanted to have enough money to live on, so my mom couldn't take me with her. So I stayed with my dad. 2 years after my mom ran away, Dad found a new woman. He married her and she became my stepmother. For some time, our relationship with her was normal, but after 6 months, my stepmother Avery, she changed her attitude towards me. I don't know the reasons. It was just that Avery did not want to consider me her son. She said that she did not want to consider me a son. I never felt comfortable in my family after that moment. Over time, I felt like I didn't belong in that family. My family encouraged the children to have the same attitude as they did. Of course, all my brothers and sisters followed the example of my stepmother. I was always sacrificed and ignored. My father just made sure I had shoes and food. My stepmother ruled everything else. She ignored my wishes, and she put other people's or her wishes above mine every time. Later, I stopped tolerating this attitude. We often had quarrels with Avery. My dad took a neutral position, but he often took her side because of all the childhood difficulties. My relationship with my siblings is rather negative, especially with my brother Mason. He always treats me rudely. My sister, Harper, was the best to me. So when there was a conflict at a family dinner, I was surprised that a bunch of cousins supported me because my feelings don't matter to them. My conscience gnawed at me often that evening, although my brothers and sisters loved my parents more, but their support for me seemed unusual. I used to tell everyone that I didn't care what my father called me. If you only knew how much my stepmother loved to call me by my nickname. Avery, she would only call me by my first name on holidays. On all other days, I was an elephant to her. So when I met someone, I often hid my name. I didn't want to be recognized and called by a nickname. I don't know why I didn't tell my father about this. At that family dinner, I would have been better off keeping quiet. Who would have thought that my dad would start such a drama? As for my girlfriend, my stepmother did not like her because my girlfriend maintained neutrality just by not interfering in the quarrel. But my girlfriend is worried because she didn't manage to build a good relationship, neither with my brothers or sisters, nor with my parents. In my dad's family photo album, there is a cool photo of me and everyone else. We were on our way to a holiday at my dad's friend's house. Before that, I was at my classmate's house. We were playing in the yard, so I arrived a little dirty. I was wearing just shorts. It was time for a photo. It turned out that everyone was dressed nicely. I was the only one who was wearing dirty clothes and shorts. This is another good example of me in front of the whole family. Sebastian, my friend, you're not surprised by your girlfriend. I mean, she sees how your stepmother treats you. But at the same time, your girlfriend thinks, how to please her? You should talk about it. Suddenly, your girlfriend is on her side, and she thinks you're a jerk. If I were you, I would never get involved with the family. I talked to the girl, or dumped her altogether, because her behavior is weird. Camilla, I think the idea of a girl is correct. Everyone reacted differently that night. Your brother yelled at you. Your sister went to help with your dad, and your girlfriend watched everything in silence. Your stepmother was just cheek by jowl with you, so you should look more closely at the whole story. Your girlfriend really wanted her family to like her. That's why she decided not to interfere. In my opinion, your girlfriend wanted to be honored, but she chose to get it from the wrong people. My friend, I am surprised that you allow yourself to be ridiculed. I understand when you were a kid, you couldn't do anything, but now you shouldn't let yourself be humiliated. You are an adult and you should respect yourself. Let everyone go away from you. Live your life and don't think about opinions, what other people impose on you. Aiden, yes, your girlfriend will try to hide the fact that she decided to just keep quiet, but she made a mistake. Your story about the photo at your friend's party, I was really upset by it. You just ended up with the wrong people in your life, but now you can change everything. Let your stepmother show her attention to someone else, and let your dad, the manipulator, come up with something better. 8 months have passed since the second part of my story. Now I will tell you what happened after that. I read other people's opinions. I talked to my close friends. They shared similar thoughts to the ones I read from you. It was easy for me to agree with many of them. Even though it was painful, I realized important things for myself, thanks to you. Many interesting thoughts have led me to certain decisions. A month after the publication of the second part, I saw the truth about everyone around me. My life was like the life of a fairy in a jar. It's when anyone can take you and shake you as much as they want, saying that he does the best for me. But it's not true at all. I've always seen how my family treats me, but I chose to humiliate myself just to avoid conflict. I wanted to be a part of those people. I found myself depressed. I felt bad for a long time. I realized how I was used and how often I was morally abused by everyone. It almost broke me. Your comments about my girlfriend, for a while, they seemed stupid to me, but I decided to try to resolve the situation. To be sure, in my girlfriend, one evening I decided to have a sincere talk with her. I tried to tell her calmly how my stepmother treats me, how she constantly humiliates me and tries to control me. So when I told my girlfriend everything, she was very surprised. There was sympathy in her eyes, and it was like we found a common language that night. The next day we talked about it again. My girlfriend Scarlett said we shouldn't date because she can't stand my stepmother. Avery has created a lot of negativity in our relationship, so my girlfriend Scarlett did not want to take any more words from Avery. And my dad called her quite often to ask about me and my feelings. Eventually, she got sick of it. That's why we broke up. I'm sorry because I was with her for a long time. I thought I could marry her, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Scarlett did not become my wife, and I lost a person. The one person who could have supported me in any way. Then I went to live with a friend of mine to recover a bit and have more money to live on. The advice was not to contact anyone from the family. I thought it was not bad, but when it came to my brother and stepmother, I had a desire to talk to my sister and father. so it was a difficult thing to refuse such communication. From the moment my dad started the drama, a lot of time has passed, but he is still in that state. His depression has not gone away. Several times a week, he wrote his annoying apologies. I was really sick of it, so I bought him some sweets. I went to him and told him I forgave him. After some time, my brother's wife gave birth. We came to their house with the whole family. They named the child as they wanted. I smiled when I heard it. My father looked at me and said, "Don't even think about any names for the child. No surnames, don't even think about it for the baby." He said this without his hysterical state and very calmly. But his words were the last for me. I realized that he was still angry, and he wants to manipulate my feelings. I stayed with them for a while and quickly went to my apartment. So that day I decided that was the last conversation we had between me and my dad. 3 months later, I moved away from my friend. I managed to find a re-entry job outside my city. It was a new chance to change my life, to build it with the right people. I changed my phone number and didn't talk to anyone. I only called my sister from time to time. I decided to go to a local psychologist. It turned out that I had a lot of childhood traumas. I had to work on them for many days. At work, I found some cool friends. I got a parrot, so now I have one more friend with whom I can talk after work. So thank you to everyone who wrote. Thanks to you, I was able to change my life, even though it was difficult. Samuel, wow, I'm so happy for you, my friend. I know it was very difficult for you. I'm proud of you for taking this situation into your own hands. You have changed your life for the better. Victoria, you are an example of a courageous person for me. These are very brave steps that not everyone will take. Finally, you got rid of all the people who interfered with your life. Now you are free from the slavery of other people's opinions. Now you don't have to listen to stupid apologies from your father, and you don't have an evil stepmother and a brother who thinks he is better than you. Congratulations on your new life. Next story. Our family is not complete. I divorced my husband not long ago. We had 4 children together. 3 of them are our own children, and 1 is a son. He was taken into our care because his father died. I knew the man, so I agreed to take care of Oliver. He is only 15 years old. He is average. The other children are about the same age. Sophia is 16 years old. Benjamin is 14 years old. Charlotte is 8 years old. They all stayed under my care. It's quite difficult for me to deal with them, but I'm holding on. Sophia and Benjamin often go to their dad's house. He entertains them and feeds them, so everything is fine. That week, our adopted son Oliver, he won the annual chess tournament. He had been preparing for it for a long time. His father taught him to play chess. Therefore, it was a very important event for Oliver. I thought it would be great to support him. So we decided to organize a celebration of this event at home, because the territory is large and we had the opportunity to do so. Oliver and I made a list of his friends who should come. In the evening, I informed all the other children that there would be a celebration in 4 days. The next day, I asked Benjamin what he was going to give his brother. My son said he was not going to get anything. The event was not significant, so there was no point. I was teary-eyed because Oliver has been with us for a long time. I assumed that my other children got along well with them. I had to ask Benjamin to come up with something for a present. After all, the celebration was this Sunday. My son Benjamin looked at me with a strange expression. I asked him what it meant. What does it mean? He replied that his dad had to take them with Sophia to the lake because my ex's mom came to visit him, and she loves these grandchildren very much. I said, had no problem with that. They and their sister can go to their dad's the next day, and then they can have as much fun as they want. However, Benjamin did not like my answer. He said that everything was settled, and I can't break their plans because of my plans. My frustration knew no bounds when I realized that out of all my children, only Charlotte would be a tearful one. So I could not stand Benjamin's tone. I took away the tablet he was playing on. Of course, he was angry with me and didn't want to talk to me. Benjamin told his dad about everything. Because of this, his father, Elijah, calls me every day. He keeps asking, why won't I let him take his children to live with me? I calmly told my ex that there was a certain situation that made me punish the children. My husband was not satisfied with this answer. Elijah said that while they are in my house, so the children play by my rules. But now it's his time to take Sophia and Benjamin to his place. So it doesn't matter what happened between us. He has the right to take the children to his place. I don't really agree with him, even though we have a conflict, because we are a family and we have to support each other and have time to celebrate something together. And Benjamin and Sophia have to be at this celebration. Even though they are almost adults, they have to obey and do what I say. Maybe I'm wrong about something, but am I? Mia, woman, your whole story has only one name: domestic violence. Do you really think if you force some children to love other children, will it give a positive result? Like, if they are brothers and sisters to poor Oliver, then they should immediately run to him for the holiday? It was not worth waiting for such a result, at least because that boy is not their own, and it is not a fact that he sympathizes with them. You should not force children. You will definitely not get love and respect from them. And your argument that Oliver has been in your family for a long time is simply inappropriate. I understand that you feel sorry for the boy, but your children should not love him out of guilt, and you shouldn't expect them to do so. If you taught your own children to love your adopted son, I am sure that such a negative situation would not have happened. Based on the circumstances, I can understand that your middle children are reluctant to be friends with Oliver. Therefore, it was a mistake to force them. It's like forcing children to eat something healthy instead of sweets. So your children, Sophia and Benjamin, have a right to spend their time wherever they want, not where you want them to be. I think after a while, your older children will speak up, that they like living with their dad much more. After all, he doesn't impose his desires on them, like you do. Lucas, I understand what you wanted to do as a good mother, but you shouldn't be good for someone and bad for someone else. By trying to make Oliver feel good, you hurt the other children. You don't care about their feelings and desires. This is not the behavior of a normal mother. It sounds more like some kind of selfishness. It's obvious that you're giving most of your attention to yourself, to your son Oliver, but you don't think that way about the other children. Be careful as your younger daughter grows up. She sees how you behave towards her siblings, her brother and sister. I think you could be more calm, not to take things away from your children, and just say how important it is for your son Oliver. But you couldn't keep your feelings in check. Therefore, in conclusion, you have a fair attitude towards yourself. Now the other children hate this poor Oliver, and it is because of your behavior. If you want to be hated, you're doing a good job of it. New story. My son was 17 years old when his mother Emma and I got divorced. The judge gave me custody of the boy. My husband had the right to visit his son and take him to his place for a few days a week. My son loves his mom Emma more. He has always been inclined to her because she allowed him more. I was too strict for him, in his opinion. So, when my son's mom came to our house, Liam, he was always happy. My son's mom was perfect for him. She allowed him everything I didn't allow. That's why Emma became his mom, just like in the movies about perfect moms. My son has said more than once that he feels better with his mom. He would do anything to live with her. More than once, my son behaved badly, especially when someone came to visit. It was Liam's way of leaving me. Now I have found a new girlfriend. She moved in with me. She had several children and a big dog with her. When my girlfriend arrived, my son did not know about it. Liam came back from training and was sitting in the kitchen. I went up to him and told him that he would sleep in the living room for a while. My son asked me why, and I told him that the guest room was too small for everyone to be there. So I let them take his space. Liam got angry and said that I do everything good for others, and for him, only all the bad things. And he also said that I was not a caring dad and an asshole. My son wrote to my ex-wife Emma in anger that he would be at her place soon. He took his things in his bag and left. About a day later, my son called. Liam told me he didn't want to come home. There are other people I care about there, so there is no place for him there, and he will not sleep in the living room. His whole behavior offended me because I think my son should live with me. 3 years have passed since that day. Liam has never come home to spend the night. No matter how many messages I wrote, none of my calls have been answered. My son ignored the messages I sent, that he belongs with me and he can come back. But Liam was not interested. He was fine at my ex's house. I'm sorry that this happened, but I have no idea how to fix it. Noah, dude, you're so interesting. Did you try to do something for your son? You were a typical father to him, or a real loving dad. After all, you had the opportunity to visit him at his ex's place. Maybe your son needed a break from you. Your son just left like that, and you did nothing at that moment. I'm very curious. How many times did you have a heart-to-heart with him after he left? I'm sure it never happened. Olivia, you are a father to Liam, and you treat him like one. Like you're a distant relative who doesn't care. Your son is only 17 years old, he's a kid, and you just let him walk away. You are like a father who had full custody of his son. You should show more desire for your son to live with you. William, I can assume that this man's son is angry. He is angry not only because he is forced to sleep in the living room. It's about the relationship between father and son. Why did Liam allow himself to be treated like this by his own father? Your son dreamed every day that he would have the opportunity to run away. And when that opportunity arose, he did what he wanted without any hesitation. And your ex didn't mind. Your son doesn't want to be with you. Liam does not want you in his life. I doubt he'll ever come back. At most, he will come to you for coffee because he's not interested in you. Your son has no positive feelings towards you. Ava, I understand your son's feelings. Put yourself in his shoes. You are going home as usual after doing your chores. Suddenly, you get a call. You're sleeping in the living room tonight, and I don't know how long you will sleep there. Your room will not be available to you for now. Other people live there, so you try to justify yourself in this situation. The son's reaction is normal. I would have behaved the same way if I had the opportunity, sleeping not in the living room, but at his mom's house. James, this situation was so stupid. Like, the son comes to his house, and you're like, son, you're not sleeping in your room anymore. You only have access to your things until lunchtime. And now, you don't have your own space, except for the bathroom, of course. This is such a bad thing to do to your son. You didn't think about his feelings at all. In adolescence, personal space is very important. You deprived your son of an important detail, so it's no wonder he's angry with you. You only thought about your feelings and comfort. Teenagers are very sensitive. You should have thought about that. Isabella, you made a big mistake, so you shouldn't expect your son to love you. Give your son's room to someone you barely know, and then be surprised. Why your son doesn't love you as much as he loves his mom. Your behavior is absurd, and you don't see your own fault at all. You should ask your son for forgiveness, to forgive you. After all, you just kicked him out of your own apartment. You think he left on his own, but it was you who encouraged Liam to leave. As a father, you did the wrong thing. You put the Bugs' children before your own. You prefer them to live in your son's room. This is very hurtful and hard to forgive.